Now we're looking at grouped frequency again, and we've got what's known as continuous data. Now that's data like heights or lengths or time or something like that, compared to discrete data, which is certain amounts, okay? So we've got some continuous data here with 20 and then this inequality sign X and then 30, another inequality sign in between. What that means is that that includes 20 and goes up to 30, but not quite 30. So it could be 29.999999 forever and ever. Okay, same with this one. This includes 30, but doesn't quite get to 40. Includes 40, doesn't quite get to 50, includes 50, doesn't quite get to 60. So you've got to be aware of that. This notation is very common. The X just means that that's the heights, all right? And there's 20 of them in this group, 35 in that group, 28 in that group, and 17 in that group. Now, we're going to do a cumulative frequency graph. You should have seen one of these before. CF stands for cumulative frequency. Remember, the cumulative frequency always goes up the y-axis, the vertical axis. But when we do cumulative frequency, we always have to add another row or column. Now, they won't do this in the test paper probably for you, so you will have to add it yourself. So be prepared to have a ruler. You don't have to use a ruler, obviously, but be prepared to draw one of these yourself. So up to this point, I've got 20 bits of data. Up to this point, I've got 20, add 35, 55 bits of data. Up to this point, 55, add 28, basically, 75, 83. And then up to this point, 100. So I had 100 bits of data in my table. I'm now going to plot those on my cumulative frequency graph. Now, because this is continuous like this, I'm going to plot at the top of each group. So in this case, it's 30. So I go, it's 20 to 30. I'm going to go 30, and then it's 20 here. So I'm going to plot that about there. Now, what I would also do is at the bottom of the bottom group is I'd put 0. There's nothing below 20, is there? Okay, so put a little cross there. Now, 40, I've got to plot 55, so 40 goes up to 55, which is about there. 50, I've got 83, which is about there, and 60, we've got all of them up to 60. Now, once again, with our cumulative frequency graph, it's always heading in an upwards direction, okay? It never goes back down to the x-axis. Now, for the median, all we have to do is we go halfway. It goes up to 100, doesn't it? So what's half of 100? Well, 50. So I'm going along there and down, okay, which is about 39. Okay, so there we go. So 50, read along, and I get 39. I'm reading off the x-axis. With the quartiles, though, what we're doing with the lower quartile, we go a quarter of the way up. And so I've got to find a quarter of 100, which is 25. So I go to 25, read along and down, which is about, what do you reckon, 33. It's quite difficult for me to read it because at the end of the day, I haven't got graph paper. You will have graph paper in your exam. So there you go. And 3/4 of 100 is 75. So I go to 75, read across and down, and what do I get? That's about 47, 48. I'll call it 47. There we go. Now, we've got this last little bit here, which is known as the interquartile range. Now, that's the bit between here and here. Okay, so we've worked out the upper quartile, which is 47. We've worked out the lower quartile, which is 33. We find the difference, we get 14. Now, that in a test might be known as the IQR, so be careful to look out for IQR. It means the same thing. So the interquartile range, upper quartile, take away lower quartile, and there we go, 14 is the answer.
Okay, Mary, so let's have a look at this one. So solve x plus 2x equals 12. So what do you think you do first?
Okay, well, I want x on its own, so I would put x equals 12 minus 2x.
Okay, so a lot of the time we want to get x by itself, but what we want to do first is get all of these x's together. So can you see anything we can do with this? Get all these together in one place.
Oh, okay, it's 3x, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
3x equals 12. Oh, and so x equals 4.
Brilliant, spot on, well done.